What is going on, everybody? It is us, the Young Melanated Council. As soon as I can figure out where all my stuff is at, so we can get this party rolling and whatnot. There it goes over there. Bam. That's us right here. Young
Down.
Melanated Council.
Yeah.
And typically we try to go live Tuesdays at 9 p.m. Standard Time, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and then wherever else you're at in the world, go ahead and figure that out. As always, per usual, like, subscribe, enjoy the show, leave a comment, um, get involved because we are here for you guys and we are here to have fun and whatnot. And we got to do this. We got to do this because this is Women's History Month. We are still keeping on with the theme of Women's History Month, and especially because it is March Madness. A lot of craziness has been going on in the tournament so far, both in the men and specifically the women's tournament. And it's going to be the final four for the women's team, or on the women's side, I should say. It's going to be very, very interesting. I'm kind of hurt that one of my teams got put out, but I am okay because my other team survived. And yeah, hopefully if they win the final four game and they go to the actual championship game, my team has a chance to actually winning the championship all over again. I want them to win so bad. If y'all don't know which teams I'm talking about, the team that got put out was number 3 Michigan. They were ranked third in the nation during the tournament. My backup team is the University of Connecticut, the UConn women's team. Of course, like I said, the number 3 women's team as well. But the number 2 seed UConn women's basketball team, they're looking very good, very, very good. And so I'm hoping they can pull this off and get this dub and then bring it back to UConn. Did I ever go to the University of Connecticut? No. I fell in love with the way how they played the game and just every avenue. Ooh, Michigan? Yeah, Michigan for the women's team. Michigan's women basketball team was ranked number 3, was the 3 seed throughout the tournament. They got put out by who was it? Stanford, I think. Because I was reading an article about it like this morning. I'm like, man, dang, I wanted them to win, but I knew they were going against a really good team. But UConn, University of Connecticut, their women's basketball team is looking phenomenal this year. And so I'm hoping that they can beat the teams that are playing in the Final Four, go to the championship, and actually beat the team in the championship and actually win it. I'm rooting for right now. I'm rooting for the UConn women's team. I just love the way how they play basketball. I really do. I really do. But the University of South Carolina Gamecocks, they got a good squad too. Hey, Mish.
Yo, what's going on?
Yo, so they got a really good squad. They got a really good squad this year. And so they're looking to bring it back to South Carolina, which would be really awesome. Really, really, really awesome. Shout out to the homie, the one, the only, the representative of the South Carolina House of Representatives, Dr. Jermaine Johnson. Representative Jermaine Johnson. There we go. Boom. That's his neck of the woods. So I would love to have the Gamecocks bring that back home to him, and they can do what they do and party up. So yes. That's the game plan for today. Well, that's the game plan for them, I should say. But for today's topic, for today's stream, before we go into that, how was everybody's weekend? How's everybody's week going so far? We gotta tell me. Yeah. How was that NASB? I know what that stands for. Yeah. They was at my high school. I almost got into it too. Sadly. Well, not even in Sally. Oddly enough, I almost got into it.
Mm. That's cool. Actually, we didn't have a high school presence. So Nesby for me was something I really discovered in grad school because I knew about it. I heard about it in high school, but we didn't have a chapter. It was just someone who was like, he was a black guy who was kind of a mentor and an advisor for an org I was in that did like community service stuff, community engagement. So I knew about Nesby, but didn't really know anything about it. College was not involved because I was computer science and math, and I thought you had to strictly be an engineer. And boy, was that a mistake to like miss out on 2 weekends of vibes. I was just thinking that. So this last weekend, I'll keep it quick. I was at NSB, National Society of Black Engineers. So they have the annual convention every March, like around the last week or second to last week. And this actually was the first time since COVID that they've had a physical convention. So 2019, they had it in Detroit, which is the last time I went. And it's the only time I've ever been to Michigan. I know, right? So 2019, I still haven't been back to Michigan, but one day. Detroit was fun though. It was like a nice little vibe. So this year it was in Anaheim, California. So it was fun to be out there, but my God, like that 3-hour time difference, that was 6-hour flight from Boston to LA. It was a lot going on. So I was in California. It was my first time ever in Cali. I've somehow never been to the state. It's crazy. And because we were there for a convention, I didn't really go exploring a ton. Like I went to a club one night. I was like an African spot in LA. It was like not downtown because there was like no traffic. There was for a Friday night, it was very like not like it was a pretty empty area. So I had fun, did some stuff in Anaheim. Didn't go to the beach because Anaheim is not close to any of the beaches. It's like 40 minutes from like Long Beach, probably 30 from Huntington, just because it's so inland. So I did not take the time to go to the beach, but I have to the next time I'm in California because what the heck. And all the professional stuff and the engineering stuff was fun. It was cool. Saw a lot of friends from old, like years ago. Some people I hadn't seen in 4 years. Some people I hadn't seen in 3 years. So that was a lot of fun just to kind of have a big reunion. So I think I'm going to make a point to go to Nesby every year. And it's always my birth month. It's always like around spring break. Usually like a week after, depending on the school. For me, of course, as a working professional, what is spring break? Lord knows. What is a break? What is that? What does that mean? So I mean, work-life balance is important. So I'm like, even though I don't like the idea of taking so much time off, plus you have to pay, unless you get your company to sponsor you, I still think it's a good like getaway. Next year it's going to be in Kansas City, Missouri, which is actually where I was. Well, Missouri is where I was born, but I was born somewhere like an hour and a half out of St. Louis. So anyway, Kansas City, Missouri, be there next year. It'll be fun. And then this is actually the first conference I ever went to was for Nesby was in 2017, also in Kansas City. So this is kind of a fun little like come full circle type event. As for the weekend before that, Lord knows if I can remember. It was St. Patrick's Day. So there was definitely just some parties, some stuff that I hadn't been able to go to pre-COVID. Like I just never had the chance to go to this one party called Black Irish. That's usually like a date. They usually do a bar crawl and a day party, but this year they didn't do the bar crawl. Instead, they had like a kickback, which I didn't make it to that, but I made it to the main day party, which was fun. Then later that night, that was Saturday, the Nesby chapter of so there's different chapters of Nesby. Usually they're in, like Ron said, there's high school, there's college. College is like the big force. Like you always see Nesby chapter at university level because that's where people are getting their degrees. So that's where people often need the most support in order to finish their degree successfully and then find a job. But there are professional chapters for those. Could be any age, but especially if you're a young professional and you're looking to sort of learn how to do this thing called life and work, these professional chapters can be your lifeline. So Nesby Boston, which is they're a pretty well-recognized chapter. They won chapter of the year back in 2019, actually. This year, I think Chicago won that. But there's professional chapters. And so Nesby Boston had like their yearly scholarship gala, which because it was the same day as the other event I just mentioned, I had to come late but it was my first time ever coming to the event. I couldn't go in 2020 because that was actually like a few weeks before COVID. I just couldn't make it. In 2019, I didn't know about it. So this was my first time going to both the Nesby Boston Gala. It was like in the Ritz-Carlton in Boston. And I went to the Black Irish Day party. And then I don't remember exactly what I did like Sunday, but I just know that weekend was cool because I actually got to go to certain events that I never had the chance to go to pre-COVID.
Right.
And then the next week, I went to Cali for the convention, which none of us have been able to go to for like the last 2-3 years. So, yeah, 2 weekends in a nutshell.
Sounds about right. You are a global, well, not a global. You are a U.S. traveler for real. You are state hopping, whatnot. So yeah, awesome. Kudos. In chat, feel free to type in what you guys did over the weekend and let us know what you did so we can blow it up and put you on TV and whatnot. Continental. Yeah, there we go. Continental Traveler. Boom. There we go. Chad Benz. Mr. Nationwide. Yeah. You're not Pitbull, yeah. He's Mr. Worldwide.
Yeah, I was gonna say, not quite Pitbull, but Pit
Terrier.
Pit Terrier. I was like, I wish I knew my dog brands enough to make a joke, but
Pit Terrier. There we go.
Call me Nationwide because I'll always be on your side.
There you go. Ooh, come on, Toby, with the puns.
With the puns and the pickup line.
Okay.
How did that go?
Okay. There you go. Bam. Awesome. Nice. Yeah, so I know my weekend was very uneventful. Actually, I'm kind of mad at myself. But yeah. So my car is back in the shop. Again.
Oh no.
Yes. So my crazy tale, of course, doing what I do. There we go. West Side.
Actually, well, I'm not going to cut it.
Because I mean, we kind of already got a connect out there. We kind of got a connector two out there on the West Coast. But I mean, still over there kicking major booty right now. And they're kicking major butt. She's about to unseat that incumbent and bring some real change to her community. So I mean,
who is this? Who's the person you're talking about?
Who's the person I'm talking about? Oh man, she is lovely. She is bright. She is beautiful. She is smart. She is amazing. She is running for Congress. If you haven't been following on her Twitter, y'all need to follow her on that Twitter page and whatnot.
Drop the handle.
I'm gonna say her initials is AR. She was out there campaigning for Andrew in the blistering cold of Iowa. Every time she met somebody, she would had the biggest smile on her face and forward and whatnot. So yeah, shout out to the homegirl Erica Rhodes.
Erica Rhodes. Sad that we didn't get to link up, but that's my fault for not reaching out to her earlier in terms of my trip. But anyway, not trying to steal the spotlight.
Oh, you're good. You are good. So yeah, no, I was over the weekend. Well, Friday. Yeah, so Friday. Yes, all roads lead to.
Oh snap! I can't believe I haven't seen that before. Yes.
That one right there. Bam. All roads lead to Congress. Yes.
I'm gonna tweet that out and I'll tag I'm gonna tweet that out and tag Chad because that's great.
Yes, it is. So doing door dashing and whatnot. And mind you, it's like snowing in Michigan, snowing. You know, and it's some thick snow too that's coming down, but it's gone now. Anyways, so I'm doing my thing, making some extra money and whatnot, and I lost the screw to one of my brakes. I guess I hit a bump and the screw came out of my brakes. So as I am going back to basically restart, my brake line snapped and I lost control over one of my brakes. Three of my brakes still work. It's just the one is not working whatsoever. So I got to reach out to my cousin who's like the family mechanic and see if he is able to look at it and see what needs to be done to get it repaired and go from there. So that was my weekend and it kind of sucked. But then again, I'm like, you know what? Whatevs. Maybe you. So hopefully I can reach out to him tomorrow and talk to him about it and whatnot. And hopefully I can get my car back on the road again. I miss it already.
Dang.
I miss it already. I miss it.
I'm sorry to hear. Car issues never seem to stop abounding. I know there was the incident that your wife, thankfully unscratched, seemed to come out of. My car
Yeah.
being totaled, and I still need to process
Yeah.
the insurance. I had to return my rental car right before my flight, so until I get another rental, I'm gonna be stuck. And it's just like you have this thing, and that's like you said, DoorDash. So that actually is part of your income. Like I know you have a few things you're doing, but like you need a car regardless.
Yes.
It really
Yes.
just derails you. Like no actual pun intended, but you really get derailed and thrown off track when you have a working vehicle.
Agreed. 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 And so it's been I wouldn't call it a whirlwind, but it's just been like it's been like you said, Toby, it's been a derailment. And so I'm like, oh, like why? Like out of all times, why now? So,
Mm,
you know, everything's all good though. So I will figure out what I need to do to get that thing done and whatnot. So that's where I'm at. And yeah, that's where I'm at. That is where I'm at. But all things are good and kosher and whatnot. So we're gonna go ahead and dive right on into tonight's segment. And this is a special treat. This is a special treat. So uh,
yeah,
you said it.
yeah. The only good thing that came out of this is that my car value, when the insurance adjusters came out, the value that they gave me on the car is very close to what I actually paid for it. Because,
Mm,
like, I mean, the thing is, I paid more on top because of like the extra warranty insurance. But base
yeah,
price, my car was around 17K, and the amount that they valued it at was a little over 16K, which I feel like that's not normal to get a valuation to be anything that close. So I know someone was told me that that could happen, that your car could actually be like much higher valued because car values overall have gone up. But obviously that means I have to pay more to buy a new one. So unless I just want to take the money and dip, but I'm not about to Uber everywhere. Um, so I don't know.
no,
We will see what
I
happens.
I know that's right. Yes, 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 yes. Mm. So I know for excuse me, I know for me, I'll probably end up figuring out what to do and get it done. Typically, that's what happens and whatnot. But again, moving on, because I know car issues are always going to happen. And there are always going to be something that's going to go wrong, always. But we can save car issues and car talk for a later time. Oh my
Mm.
gosh. will. But tonight, in light of Women's History Month, Women's Appreciation Month, well, whatever you want to say with women in the month of March dedicated to them, we decided to talk about the international side of sports and dive into that for a little bit, and just pretty much talk about what's been going on, what's the news, what's the latest, and just basically devote the melanated car issues. Man, oh boy, here we go. Yeah. Oh yeah, we right out the gate. Right out the gate.
Horses just went straight out the gate.
Right. And then of course, there you go.
You came early with that pun.
Sounds about right. So, controversy about the trans swimmer.
Yeah. All right. Since you kicked it off, I wasn't following it super closely, but I know, of course, it's like you have a trans woman swimmer who won. I don't know if it was NCAA. Yeah, I think it was college, right? So I didn't hear the actual response from the second place person. And usually, when it comes to these types of, I don't even know if you want to call them issues or these type of controversies, I would say like go for it, or at least restructure how the competitions happen, where you kind of are because people often are worried like, oh, women, they have a natural advantage, the trans women have a natural advantage because they transition from male to female. But then there's already certain, like, I don't know if you want to use estrogen levels or testosterone levels. There's already certain, for instance, there was actually a story of an athlete who, they were not trans at all. They just had an abnormally high testosterone level. And they were told that they would have to take drugs in order to get that level down to compete, which is hilarious because you usually, as we saw with Sha'Carri Richardson or with Russia, doping scandals, usually you get in trouble for taking drugs, but they were saying you need to take these drugs so your testosterone levels within range. So then I was like, well, why don't you just compete based off of these levels or some other characteristic that isn't so inherent to gender? And then that might reduce some of the explosive controversies because almost like a weight class, you're in a class of, I don't know, hormones. I might sound really ignorant because I'm not an expert when it comes to hormone levels and some of like the science behind transitioning and gender, but it's clearly an evolving science. There are like actual things that you can point to when it comes to dysmorphia or like different estrogen, testosterone counts. So I don't necessarily think that like I wouldn't I don't think it was like a travesty for Leah Thomas, I think was the name. I could be wrong, but for the trans swimmer to compete. But if it's such like a hoopla and such like consternation, then you could have people with similar attributes compete in the same class. I don't know exactly what that would be, but I know like the other idea that's been floated with like just having trans sports. I don't even know if that really makes sense because you have so many of these people. Like it's become like this crazy legislation and crazy culture war for like 1% of 1% of 1% or whatever the number is. I think it was Jermaine Johnson that just talked about it a few weeks ago, that there's like so much anger and backlash over what is, I mean, I would say that with this swimmer, this is like very rare because most people aren't even competing after high school. It's mostly social. Yeah, like I think something that Boyce said, if you're listening, Boyce, I'm about to shout you out. Mindful skeptics. A good point he made was that he even like, I mean, he's definitely not pro any of these culture wars, but he said that his run reservation with like trans athletes was when it came to, I think, fighting. So like if you have like maybe MMA, boxing or whatever, or even wrestling, there's certain fighting sports where they're not sure they would want someone to compete like that just because of how much more, direct hands-on it is. But like he even said, I don't think that means that we need to like make legislation for it. We should maybe like get actual medical professionals and have them consult with sort of the leagues and figure out what makes the most sense and not just kind of like, I don't know, whip up whatever we're trying to whip up in these like state legislative bodies. But I do think that there should be like a real conversation about it, have everyone at the table involved, NCAA, whoever the standards are, and like use real, like, I don't know, real science and real guidelines, have the input from everyone, you know? So this isn't just kind of like, we're just going to sit here and like attack trans people, but you're actually trying to find a solution that makes sense. And if it's not a problem, then let's say that. Then let's be like, okay, there's nothing wrong. I gotta go to the leagues. Where's Rocky when you need him? But Chad, I think what you said is pretty sensible. You have to actually see how it makes sense for a given sport, especially if it's contact, right? Something that's more like physical fighting. But if it's not, and there's no exact proof that you have an advantage because of XYZ, then whatever, go for it. But I mean, I'm not an expert, so I'm just kind of developing what seems to make sense to me as I think about it more. But I don't follow a lot of this, honestly. I just know I've seen various examples, whether it's, I don't remember if I can find the name of the woman. It was a Black woman competing who had higher testosterone levels. There was also a trans athlete who, they were born also with a very high normal testosterone count or low estrogen, to the point that they were often mistaken for being a man. And so she ended up transitioning. And so like she transitioned to be a man. And in a case like that, she probably also wouldn't have been allowed to compete in a lot of women's sports because she was more man-like. I mean, I kind of feel like it's problematic to say some of these things, but like conventional standards and guidelines would not have you compete, I feel like, already. And so if Leah Thomas, before transitioning, may have already been in a situation where they wouldn't have been able to compete because they had too high of hormones in one way or another, or their build was outside of, I mean, you know, people would come up with whatever reason. So if that was the case, I don't think it's unreasonable to transition to the gender. And then if you already kind of had similarities or attributes that made you more in line that way. And like I said, not an expert, so please come in, correct, give other facts or data or enlighten my perspective. But I'm just kind of going off of what I understand.
Right.
I don't know, Ron, if you want to take a crack at it, because I was just kind of like,
well, because I remember, what was it? Was it a few months ago? It had to be either sometime last year or a few months ago. Okay, hold on. We got. Let's go take this one, and then I'll get the Misha's. And what I can recall was, like I said, it had to be either earlier this year or sometime last year. There was a topic or an issue when it came to like two transgender athletes running track, you know, and again, to Toby's point, it was like there really wasn't necessarily a clear advantage as to if that athlete or athlete had an advantage over their opponents. You know, it really wasn't. And so it was just more so the fact of the matter of, again, what's the issue? And I kind of get where people are saying, like, you know, if it's contact sport, you know, might be a little bit different. Like I could kind of see that because when it comes to boxing, when it comes to kickboxing, when it comes to MMA, you know, those kind of sports, again, yes, you want to be put in the similar weight class as your opponent. You don't want to be viewed as somebody that, ooh, you should actually post that in the chat.
in the Discord.
No, well, Discord too, but also in the sweating through. Man, listen,
I'm pretty cool right now.
listen. I
No,
got I got I got my big jug of water. I'm great. I'm great. But
oh,
no,
yeah, but I'm good still.
no. And again, it's just one of those things where it's not a whole lot. It's really not. When it comes to transgender athletes, there's not a whole lot that are actually competing. There's not. Sure, you may have the one, two, three that are competing right now. I would say let them compete. You know, let them compete. I know that I don't necessarily agree with what's been thrown out in the media because a lot of times the media tends to throw things out of proportion a lot of times, and they make it a bigger issue than what it needs to be. And so I would say allow them to compete, let them compete. You know, if you, I mean, sure, if you put in training just as much as anybody else does, if you do the workouts like you're supposed to do, yes, you're going to win, regardless if you're trans or not. If you do what you're supposed to do, you're going to win, regardless of what the situation may be. You're going to win, And even then, with those athletes being able, or with any athlete being able to learn from their coaches to improve, to get better, yes, they're going to win. They're going to win, flat out. They're going to win. Unless whatever else weird happens, which in this day and age, which is a lot of weird things can happen, who knows? Who knows? I say let them compete. And if they win, they win. And if they don't, they don't. I would say that I don't think they should be stripped of their medals. If they win any kind of medals, I say don't strip them. That's just wrong. They won fair and square, just as much as anybody else. If they won fair and square, let them keep their medal. Let them have something they can hold on to.
Female to male trans. So actually, we did talk a little the other time when Jermaine was on. There aren't as many, right? They're usually invisibilized,
Yeah.
made invisible, whatever. And I don't even know if there's enough to like get a sample size of like, let me look, who are the trans athletes who lost, right? Because to rebut Mark's point, I don't really know how many trans athletes have gone and competed and not won. But then what's what's the normal percentage? Like it's almost like a freaking probability distribution. What's normal to happen, and then compare it to the actual size of trans athletes that have won, and then you can maybe try to say, oh, it's outside of that realm, right? Using some confidence intervals and statistical nonsense. But I don't even know if your sample size is big enough to like say confidently that yes, you have an advantage of being a trans, I guess specifically female to male, male to female.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I really don't know. I mean, I think it's a valid question to say, is this fair? Is this not fair? Right? Because that seems to be the consternation is that, oh, okay, the implication is this isn't fair. And something needs to be done about this. I don't know if it's you're banning people to be trans. I don't know if you need different guidelines about. So I actually posted something in a private chat. I'll see if I can put it into the Discord. But there was a Namibian teen. So that I found the country. It was a teen from Namibia. So that's like southern, I want to say southwestern Africa, who had an abnormally high had a higher than what you normally would see testosterone level, and so she was what's the word, she was banned from competing track and field. So for her, this is actually I think an important philosophical question. So is the problem that we're not okay with certain hormone levels competing against each other or body builds? Because for her, she was however the term you really should say it. She was cisgender, right? She was a cisgender female, yet she had a higher testosterone count and was banned. That's not fair, right? Though the fact that she has to take drugs. So if you are trans, but you've actually taken the hormone therapy, you've transitioned, and you really are not really distinguishable, or like you have the same, I don't even know how to word it, but you've got someone who actually knows this but can explain better. But you've gone through the therapy all the way. You've completed the transition. Like if you fully transitioned, then what makes it so different versus if you're a cisgender woman who happens to have higher hormones, but then you're not allowed to compete, right? It just seems like there's something off with kind of the way like that this is being treated. So let me actually read your comments right now too, TY4. As a swimmer did. Well, sweetie, I guess you just got to get good. Okay, so I wasn't 100% serious, but what would I tell my daughter?
I mean, I got a daughter, and yeah. Actually, I can answer this. I can answer this one like for real because a lot of the kids at her school, especially a lot of the students, they think that she's a boy, but she's 100% girl, 100% girl, 100% girl. She's just built. She has a stocky build, but she's tall, and she's not very athletic per se, but she's coachable. She's coachable. She's trainable, and so in that aspect, yeah, look at the Williams, Venus Williams. Okay. And so let me go ahead and answer this question too. It would be like, okay, as long as you do the work, as long as you put everything you have on the table, as long as you do that much, sure. Are you going to lose some races? Yes. Are you going to win some races? Yes. Are you going to win every last one of them? Heck no. No. Are you going to lose every one of them? No, you're not. You're not. But at the same time, as long as you give everything, as long as you put in 100% effort into whatever sport you're playing, whatever sport, win or lose, as long as you know you get off and you've done everything you possibly could to put yourself in the best position to win, but if you still lose, okay, you still lost. You still lost. If you win, you won. You won. You put yourself in that position to win or lose, regardless of who your opponent is. Regardless of who your opponent is, you still won at the end of the day. But let me ignore muscle memory.
Look at the
again, like I said, my daughter, the way how she's built, she's built thick. She's built thick. She's solid. She's just tall. She's tall for her age. She's a tall girl. Most girls who are tall, they're not necessarily built thick, especially in my area. They're not. They're more so built like tall and skinny. She's tall and thick. Tall and thick. And if you look at her in the face and whatnot, just nothing at all, you will almost think she's a dude. Almost. You will almost think she's a dude. And she's came up to me multiple times and her mom multiple times, almost like, I want to say in distraught, but just kind of like why people think I'm a boy when I'm not. I'm a girl. Especially when it comes to getting my hair done, especially when it comes to doing this, that, and the third, why should I feel this way, knowing that that's not true. And we had to tell her, like, I'm sorry that you have to go through this. I really do. We really are. We are really sorry that you're going through what you're going through. But nevertheless, you still be true to yourself. You still do what you have to do. And even if you want to get better at whatever else you want to get better at, okay, you do what you got to do to get better. You do what you need to do. And at the end of the day, again, win or lose, that's on you. As long as you did your part, I can't get mad at you. As long as you did your part and you gave your all, who am I to get mad at? You won. Good job. You lost. Okay, you lost. Learn from your loss and do what you can to get better. I mean, what else you want me to say? Like, no, they should compete with the other men. Like, okay, fine. If that's the case and they still beat the majority of the men, then what? Then what? What's the case then? If the transgenders who are male going to female, if they still beat the male counterpart, then what? Are we going to still have a story, or is it going to be like, transgender man beats man in a 100-meter dash? I would like to see that too. I would love to see that story. I think that would be the most funniest story in human history. I would laugh. I would laugh because now we're going to put them, I guess, competing in the same weight class. Like, okay, go for it. Let them have at it. Let them have at it.
That last thing you were saying was transgender men to woman.
Mm-hmm.
What was that theoretical headline you said that you make laugh?
Like, if transgender man who transgender woman, so meaning was man transitioned to woman, went ahead, beat a man in a 100-meter dash. I would laugh. Me personally, I would laugh just because. Just because, like, okay, so if we're gonna put them in the same weight class, okay, so be it. And if they win, what now?
Yeah, I see what you're saying. So basically, like the people who are worried about like this being an unfair advantage, let's have them compete against the men if they were transitioning already from men to women, and then watch them still basically win and beat them. Okay, I get the point. I get the point. Even the other way around too. Like if you had a woman transitioning to a man, right? And then okay, so I guess the assumption is that men are superior to women in certain areas, which debatable. But let's say that that's the case. Then what happens if you took a transgender woman and a woman who transitioned to a man, which in that case, theoretically, they should have a disadvantage, and then they could win too against the men. Now, I don't know if there's enough cases out there to show that, but in that case, I'm guessing people wouldn't be saying there was an advantage. But it would be hilarious if they won, because then you have quote unquote, someone who should be handicapped winning anyway. But anyway, these are all theoreticals, and there's not even enough data to make a solid conclusion. I think the conversation itself, I think is valid. I think I think it kind of comes down again, almost this philosophical question is like, who are we like worried about the competitions for? Are we talking about a class of body build, which there are many women who are much more built than certain men. So let's take a man who's not at all athletic, and let's say that they transition to women, and then they compete. Are they at some quote unquote advantage? Like I don't know. Like I'm trying to think of a good example. So I'm not trying to roast anyone, but like, let's say you're like a very non-athletic man. You transition to a woman, and now you're like trying to play tennis against Serena Williams. Like, no, you do not have an advantage just because you were a man transitioning to women. Like, Serena Williams is going to kick your butt, or Naomi Osaka, or whoever. They're going to kick your butt. Like, at the end of the day, if you're well-trained, you're well-trained. If you're gifted, you're gifted. So I don't think that, like, that's also, like, a baseline where you're automatically going to be better because you were a man going to women. Again, like, I think there are certain sports, like Chad said, that maybe when it comes to I don't know, certain mechanics, or if it's fighting, but I'm not sure because like there are definitely women who can run faster than some men. There are women who are going to be better ballers than some men. I mean, there's like already like disparities, differences within women and men. And so now, are you going to say that even like the most unathletic man who transitioned to a woman can't compete against the most athletic woman? Or are you worried about people who kind of have the same build? Are you looking at body mass index, hormone levels? Like, I don't really know at some point what people are gauging, because you can't say that every man is then going to be more athletic than a woman. Therefore, they can't transition. You can't have a transitioned woman against a cis woman. I don't like that's not sound. I think logic when there's already not like automatically every man is superior to women in XYZ. Like let's look at soccer. The women's soccer team dominates. The women's soccer team, the USA soccer team dominates. Men's soccer team, not so much. And so, I mean, I'm not saying that they're bad, but it's just that like the scale of like what's happening is so different. So are you going to say that, let's say you took one of the men and had them transition to a woman, are they going to be automatically better than the women who have already shown that they're beasts? I don't think so. I really do not think so, personally. But I'm not like saying that I'm closing the door on the question because I don't know everything about this. I just think that there is some shaky assumptions made about some of the opponents to this in some areas.
Agreed. And again, get it that I get it and understand that the anatomy of men to women is vastly different. I get it. I do. Yes, you're going to have some men who physically are stronger than women. I get it. Flip of the coin, you're going to have some women who are stronger than most men. It's going to happen. But at the same time, you can't necessarily make that assumption and say that they can't compete. I mean, if that's the case, then what about in life in general? You know, what's to say that they may be better at one thing that the other's not good at? What's to say that they may excel in this area versus another area? Again, it's just one of those things where we really can't make a full assumption on and have it like concrete because it's not. I mean, I know some women who, and again, to Toby's point, I know some women who can cross up a dude in a heartbeat and make him look stupid, like an N1 mixtape. Again, I would laugh. I find that funny. You got crossed over by a chick. And not only that, she scored on you and pointed at you because your ankle broke and you were talking all this trash. But no, she done did you up in the worst way. Did you up in the worst way. And again, to Toby's point, yes, the U.S. women's soccer team dominates year after year when it's time for the World Cup. Yes, the women's soccer team goes a whole lot farther than the U.S. men's soccer team. I've watched it as many times as I could watch the World Cup. I laugh when the men's team gets put out by a team who clearly they could have beat. Clearly. And you look at the women's soccer team, yeah, sometimes they get put out by some really good teams. They really do. And then there's other times where it would be, would the women's team dominate the men's team? Are you talking about as far as soccer wise? I would say yes. I really would. I really would. I really would. I really would. And the reason why I would say yes is because they understand that it's a team sport, not an individual sport. And so they're going to play well together. Most men, it's about them. And a lot of times they don't have that same logic as far as, no, if we're going to do this as a team, let's win as a team. Instead, you got a bunch of individuals playing a team sport. It's not necessarily going to work out that way. Not necessarily. Again, my opinion, my thoughts. I've seen the women's team play. They dominate. Sorry, but not sorry. They do. When it's time for the team to show up, the women's team shows up. The women's team shows up. right? Right? I mean, I'm not a betting man. I'm not a betting man, but at the same time, like I said, it's just as many times as I've seen the men's soccer team play, and they've let me down year after year when it comes to the World Cup. I've lost. I have no faith in the men's U.S. soccer team. I really don't. I don't. I will put my faith in the women's soccer team, knowing that they could go a little bit further and do well, do well, do well, and do very well. I mean, case in point, you look at Michigan's basketball team, and I'm not gonna just like throw poop on them or anything else, but the Michigan's men's basketball team is like, sure, they've had some highs, they have some lows, and they played a really good ball this year. They played a really good game of ball this year. And sometimes they show up when the games are needed, and sometimes they don't. Flip of the coin, the women's basketball team, they've been showing up game after game after game after game. Yes, had they had some tough losses this year? Yeah. Yes, they have, which gave them the right to be the number 3 seed. But at the same time, and at the same token, when it came to the tournament, they got put out by a very good team, made it to the Elite Eight. Michigan's men's team got put out in the Sweet 16. But again, they played a very good team. Even though they played a very good team, still a lot of times the men's team did not show up. It didn't show up, and so again, I would say sure. I would go with a women's team to win. Yeah, I really would. I really would. Let's see. Go there.
See, yeah, this could sound like a boast, like you're so good at all these sports that you'd beat anyone, or you're conceding that someone would beat you. Wrong with the point. Yeah, so with soccer, I do agree too with Chad. Hey, be Julia. I was not here last week, sadly, but nice to see that you showed up. Now, yeah, soccer. I think that's the thing too, is that not every sport is created equal. So, like a sport like soccer, there's some others where athleticism is important for sure, but like there's so much more when it comes to the skill and the talent, the footwork. You could also talk about. I don't know. I mean, you might question basketball, but like there's definitely different sports where being a man is not going to automatically make you better, right? Like, I don't even want to say track that is true, but like you could say certain body dynamics. Like the reason why Usain Bolt actually, there was like a saw a nice article about it a few years ago. Part of the reason why he wins is because of his body. Like he's so tall that even though he doesn't accelerate as quickly, his body can carry him through while other people's bodies lose momentum. So you might make a case that depending on how your body is built, you have more of an advantage when it comes to like sprinting, maybe endurance, but especially when it comes to the sprinting. I'm not sure about all the track, like the vaulting, the joust. I'm not sure about all of it. But like I said, different sports have different sort of mechanics going on. And I don't think you can blanket and say that like we have to create this sort of law that's like so broad blanketed because 100% of the time you have this advantage, which you might not really have. Like again, if you want to look at it and say, hey, this person clearly, if they haven't transitioned or there's certain things where like maybe the hormones are not in line or whatever, okay, that's a different story, right? Like especially if you're going to take like natural, if you're going to take women who are cisgender and say that they can't compete because of hormones. I linked the Namibian person. There's other examples of this happening. It's not just a one-off. But if that's the case, then I think you should just really like test people and say everyone in the same hormone class. I don't know, man. It's just sometimes like boggles my mind because I feel like it's not one-to-one. Like there are many factors at play, and there is definitely a question that's being gotten at. But saying that every trans person can't compete in this, I think is the wrong answer because it doesn't. it's not 100% the case in all those cases. Like you said, Ron, you could very much have that sort of like someone wins anyway, like a trans person, a trans woman, or whoever wins, and then you kind of like blows the theory apart, or like it's just kind of a funny like rebuttal. But anyway, I've gone on about this, and I'm also catching up on the chat.
No, you're good. You're good. I am posting this article. What's the title of this article,
Uh,
Toby?
oh, the one that I just posted.
Mm-hmm.
Hold on, let me find it. It was like Namibian teens vow to fight Olympics testosterone ban.
Okay. You said it was Nibian?
Namibia. I put the title like in the private chat. That the thing that's above the link, that's like the actual title of the article. Namibian teens vow to fight. If you just need to copy that, Namibian teens vow to fight Olympics testosterone ban.
Okay.
And yeah, I
I
think I will watch the Rogan. I know Rogan has been gone. He's been going through it. He's been saying some interesting things, but I think there's definitely some interesting conversations that have happened overall. So I definitely want to see more people's perspective on it, preferably people who actually can talk more about like the science and the data. Because I feel like there is like a reaction that's like, oh, you can't have them, but it's like, well, are there situations why that's specifically the case and others where it's not? Right. And then if the issue is the sort of body structure, or like let's say you're more muscular, you're taller, and there are these things, well then are more muscular and tall women able to compete against the ones who aren't? I mean, of course you're going to be athletic. If you're athletic, you're athletic, but some women are going to be built very differently. Some are going to be taller than maybe a lot of men. Some of them are going to be pretty short. And is that okay? Right. And then like what about gymnastics? Gymnastics, typically you want to be the very petite, sort of Simone Biles-esque. So what happens if you're a man who is not petite and then you transition to a woman? Are people going to be saying that that's not okay? If anything, they have a quote unquote disadvantage, right? So I kind of find a lot of it interesting um, with what is sort of problematic in these cases. But yeah, there's the article about the Namibian person. I think it's an interesting read regardless because it kind of talks about these dynamics, not just with trans, but with like hormones and sort of what is the realm of normal woman and man. And then what happens when someone is outside of that who's not even trans? How do you treat that case? And then you might use that as like a not like a blueprint, but I mean, it might help resolve some of these other issues too. Because there's already people who don't exactly know what's going on amongst cisgender women and men who might be outside of, mostly women in this case, who are outside of certain body parameters. Or, I mean, seriously, you could be like mad buff. And I mean, are you going to be like, oh, you can't compete against other women who just don't happen to be the same athletic shape as you? And as for Elle, she's traveling. Sad. I mean, good for her, but sad for us. Wait, what? She's forming a harem. Oh, I'm guessing you're talking about Elle. Right. Mark, what I'm saying is that what if you are a male who transitions to a female and then you compete within the female realm, but then you actually end up being disadvantaged because your body happens to be too big? I mean, that's quote unquote, right? Obviously, it's not the case for everyone. I'm just throwing out mostly hypotheticals anyway. And I'm curious how people would react or want to regulate those things and the reason why. Feelings less communication Olympics. Oh, where was I? I was actually traveling myself. Well, I was getting ready to go to LA Wednesday, and Tuesday night I had already a prior there was a commitment for a friend's birthday dinner too. They're twins. They had a birthday dinner. Unfortunately, I mean it was 8 p.m., so it was an hour before the stream, but unfortunately I was already running late because I had to get ready for my flight the next day. And so by the time I went to the dinner and back, it was well after 10 p.m. and I wasn't gonna be able to make it unless I was like gonna have it while driving. And no, Ron, I think we're having some technical difficulties on the back end, but I'm still here. My your abandonment issues. I didn't get to fully watch the stream because it basically was the hecticness of traveling to LA of all places. My God, whew, it was fun, but it was a lot. Trying to catch a flight back was also a lot. That was a lot. Question. Is
I'm
your
good.
okay? Okay, it was just really quiet. I was like, "Is your audio okay?" I know your
No,
technology.
no, it's tech issues. Ugh, be so done when it's all said and done. Um, hmm. Ha ha. Oh my goodness. That's going to be funny. Yeah. No. Okay.
Oh, an
Yeah.
idea like that has come up either earlier, no, not this year, but it would have had to have been last year or like 2020. But someone did mention, what if one time we had something where you kind of had it more like a Zoom? Like here you have like our link, but our link is like a private thing that we share because we don't, as we saw in COVID times, people like to bomb these things, Zoom bombing and XYZ. So you have like a private link like this where we can join and only select people come on. And of course, if you have a guest, we give it to you. You could do something like a Zoom, um, and then it ends up being more like a bigger council. So it's not just us speaking at y'all, but people can hop on as they feel free, as they see
Mm-hmm.
fit. Um,
Mm-hmm.
the one thing I don't like about Zoom is it doesn't seem to be recorded very easily. Like once the chat is gone, like once the speaker ends, the host ends it, you lose like everything. You lose the chat unless this is like recorded, right? Like what they did with a lot of like seminars, obviously during Zoom, a lot of Yangs events you could find or Discord, blah. Yeah,
Discord will work. Discord will work.
the council select.
Hmm.
I mean, shoot, I would like the idea of being able to see Chad, Rocky, XYZ. I would get to see all of y'all's faces and we get to all talk. I'm not against it actually. Um I think Zoom is interesting though. The thing I do like though about social media like YouTube and Twitter, Twitch, it's all recorded, it's all there. You kind of get to see like Zoom is kind of like a one-off. You can have these nice little Zoom talks, but I don't know if you can always see how many people, like after the fact, like if there's any trace that this even happened. I do think there were some Zooms though. Like I should talk to, I think Mia Dunford, the humanities roundtable speaks. I think their Zooms were recorded, so there might be an option to record Zooms. You can actually see everything and replay it. But from a lot of what I've seen, you just have the Zoom and it's gone. And I don't know. I don't like that. I don't like that. I mean, lives are like that too, technically. Like if you do an Instagram or Facebook lives typically get saved. Instagram lives, I think you can save them as IGTVs, but I don't know if you have access to all the replay stuff. Anyway, I'm just chatting at this point.
No, you're good. You're good. You're good. Well, and again, to your point too, Toby, you can record the Zooms. It's possible. It's something that you have to do as the meeting is getting started. And so that way, if you want to look back at something, you can. But even then, like, da, 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 even through like Discord would work because Yeah, and publish on YouTube. Yes. Yes, 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 yes. That is so true. So true. So true. I know we got off topic, but whatever. We'll get
Man,
back on.
it's
Even
also
but I was gonna say,
it's true.
with Discord, I know you could stream them in a weird way. You could do it, but then there none have efficient. Hi, there you go. And so what I was gonna say was I know with Discord you could set it up where as long as you have that Discord link, you can chime in at any point in time and and just pretty much have it flow in, flow out, flow in, flow out, and whatnot. So I think you could max it. You could have a set a cap to how many people would come in and whatnot. And I know to Toby's point, he wasn't here last week, so I got to kind of like slowly ease him on in. We were already talking about like doing that with you guys, and so that's going to be something in the works, and especially with our anniversary coming up. Whoop, whoop, yeah, I think it will be year number 2. Yeah, 2-year anniversary is coming up, so that's going to be awesome and whatnot. So look forward for that, as well as far as announcements and other things we got going on as we kick off our 2 years, our 2-year mark. But this has been a very interesting topic. I love it. I'm I'm not upset. I'm just I would like to hear Elle's point because I think she does bring a very interesting dynamic to it. And though she's not here, I know wherever she's at, she's watching us and laughing and joking and pointing or probably smacking her head, whatever the case may be, and whatnot. So when Elle gets back from L Land, she can watch this and go from there. So we'll see. We'll see. But no, 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 no. Yes, yes, yes. Going back to the topic of women's sports internationally and globally and whatnot. Uh, yes, yes. Pour out one for the homie L. L, wherever you at, this is for you. Mm. And look who popped up. Hey L. Yes. Yes, wherever you at. Yeah, she's here. Yes, she is here. She is here being a spectator, and we love it. We love it. We love it. Wherever you are at, and whatever you're doing, be safe doing it. Have fun doing it. Enjoy what you're doing, and so forth and so forth and so forth. And when we when we will talk to you again, we will ask you about your adventures and go from there. And go from there. So yeah, I love it.
Yes, very much missing L. Hope you're doing great. I just had to scroll through your Twitter for a second too as I was getting some water, and there's some interesting things going on. So I hope. I mean, you don't have to explain yourself. Live your life, but I I got some question marks. But do what you need to do.
I'm not going to choke on water. I'm not going to choke.
Don't choke on your water. Oh man. Honestly, it would be so crazy because like you have all these the chat is already kind of wild, some not wild, but like it gets us going, right? We go back and forth because of the chat and all of y'all.
Yeah.
So having that like as a group, I can't even imagine like a group Zoom or a freaking clubhouse. I know there's already a clubhouse for some topics. Shout out to Rocky, Mia. There's a bunch of people who do that futurocracy Discord. Rocky faithfully posting that every week. I haven't been able to go recently. You can't get offended by L Land. I
oh,
like the visual
oh
aspect.
man. Oh,
I think
Clubhouse.
Clubhouse does have the option to go on video, but mostly it's an audio thing. So, eh.
Are we doing?
Slap again. Oh my gosh! So I just saw something. Um, oh, it was a tweet. It was a tweet. As I was looking at L's thing, it said if NBC hadn't cowardly
Oh,
canceled the slap, we would know how to process this better. I forgot the slap was even a show. Um, didn't have great reviews, but 6.1 out of 10 is far from some of the worst shows out there. So kudos to them. Yeah, a lot of things with that slap. I don't even know what's going on, to be honest.
man. I, I had the luxury of watching it before going to work, and of course, well, not that slap show, but what's been talked about in various media outlets and social media outlets and whatnot, just to kind of, uh, I don't know, bring something lighthearted, if
Me
you can call it.
too.
It's just yes, love you, L, love you. Oh man, if anybody who knows Chris Rock, he doesn't necessarily have a filter. He doesn't necessarily have a filter, and sometimes yes, he may have done some ill-timed jokes, and it's like, mm, bro, you should have thought that one out a little bit better, little bit better. Um, team. There goes the question: Team Chris or Team Will?
I don't really think Chris was too crazy for saying. I mean, I know that there's certain dynamics at play with like. I know some people were like black women being the butt of the joke or women with short hair, but I also know that that environment is just something where everyone's taking a shot. Like I forget who it was who made a joke about something and they got some controversy. Um, like I don't remember if it was a white woman that had made the joke or that was responding to a joke and people thought she. I don't even know. I just know people like really get their ruffles and feathers in the ruffle. People are gonna say some wild things, and I feel like that just has to be that. As long as it's not completely out of pocket, and that was only. I don't know. It wasn't that far. Like the hand was still near the pocket. Like I don't think it was that out of pocket. It wasn't like this far out of pocket. It was like I don't know, this close to being out of the pocket, just off the edge of the pocket. I don't think he was that crazy for what he said. Um,
Yeah,
Will can do what he can easily do, I guess. I just think it's interesting because there's a lot of speculation with was he okay with the joke until he saw her reaction? Was it staged? At the beginning, I was like, this could have been staged, but now I'm not sure because of how far like the consequences have become. Like, I don't think they would have staged it just to possibly lose the Oscar or to get censored or whatever they're trying to do.
no, don't worry. We're coming back. We're coming back. We just had to, you know how we normally do. We take a little detour and then we'll come right back in there. You know, just because again, I love women's sports. I do, and I feel as though women's sports they don't get a lot of recognition that they really do deserve. Like they really don't. You know, and I feel as though they should. You know, they really should. Especially, especially the way how a lot of times it's the flashiness as far as what they can do and how athletic they really are in comparison to the like person like yeah, I mean that's cool, that's great, sure, but whatevs. Gets kind of boring after a while. Like now it's like, oh, make it just interesting. Let's go. So, um, as I'm brain is flying through like 1,000 miles an hour, and just thinking about the women's sports from around the world and whatnot. Chad, I'm gonna ask you guys this question, and then Toby, you can um, chime in whenever you want. What women's sport, or women's sport, I should say, should get more should get a little bit more of an audience for? Which women's sport do you believe should get a little bit more attention for? You know, whichever women's sport that you can think of, whichever one. I got like a couple. I have a couple.
I have a couple I can think of, but honestly, because I'm not like the biggest sports watcher, I can't even be like, oh man, this sport that I love to watch, I wish I could see women. But I will say some of the ones off the top of my head, of course, you have women's basketball because like the WNBA, I never knew anything about what's going on there. Never anything about like March Madness. Even the fact that there are women's teams that go, I didn't really know that. So I feel like it would be cool if like we actually saw more of that. Then some sports that actually I know some women played in it, and I was surprised because these are like pretty rough sports. Rugby. I feel like I knew a bunch of women doing rugby, both in my undergrad in Maryland at UMBC, and some people who did it back in RPI when I was in upstate New York. And I was like, dang, there's some women who are really dominating here in rugby. And, you know, these women, yeah, like they're not going to take no crap. But like, I kind of wish that I was able to see maybe that more. Because rugby seems like an interesting sport. I don't think much of it ever. Like, I don't think about it, but I feel like it's kind of an interesting sport. Thank you for stopping on. I need to watch the Ace Attorney and all the other streams. I tried catching some of the Ace Attorney one, but ran right up to where my flight was supposed to be. But keep doing you, Mish. We're here. Love you. We care.
Okay. Awesome.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, I'm going to say, because I know with the WNBA, even
people need to fall down and pretend to be hurt.
Yeah, the flops. Yeah. I would disagree. I would disagree. I would say that it's a higher level of class because of the fact that there isn't necessarily any kind of drama and whatnot. I think it'll make it more watchable. Like players care. I mean, I get it. Don't get me wrong. I get it. But at the same time, it's like I kind of get tired of watching people getting ejected time after time after time because they done lost their cool. I'm like, okay, you got charged. Okay. And then don't get me wrong too as well. There some ejections that should not have happened? Sure. Oh, yes, 100%. Yes. But at the same time, it's like I would watch a WNBA game just because I would like to see how they play, how they interact. If anything, I would probably take my daughter to a WNBA game, see the Detroit Sparks, and watch them play. because she just played basketball not too long ago. She actually likes it. She actually liked it. She never thought she always wanted to play, but because yeah, they care about their that's a whole thing. I would say a lot of them play just for the love of the game, just for the love of the game. Even if they don't win a ring, just the simple fact that matter because they play in a game that they actually love and enjoy. Huh. Mm, um. Mm, yeah, I mean, they're respectively in their respective sports. Yes, respectfully, respectfully.
uh, this was you. This you. You're talking
Yeah.
about you, Julia. That's what you did when. That's so interesting, though. I feel like now we need to see like Julia basketball time. Like you gotta, you gotta show us what was going on back then. Um,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, what time is it?
True. True. I give you that. Ha 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 ha. Ha. Oh man. Oh man, that would be something interesting to watch.
Yeah, that'd be
That
different.
would be something interesting to watch.
That would be different.
Yeah, but no, like rugby, that's a good spin. I've seen an article once or two about a women's rugby team, but I was like, I didn't even know they actually had a women's rugby team. Like that's awesome. I would love to watch it. I would love to watch it. I mean, even when I was watching cable and I would just flip through a lot of the even when I was watching like a lot of the sports channels that would catch a rugby game on, it was just because I found it very interesting. I found it very interesting. Like, rugby, nice, and to hear that hey, there's a rugby team, I'm like, oh, like now that takes things to a whole different level. Like I would watch it. I really would. I think rugby is a really fun sport, very competitive, very physical, and just to watch it, just so I could become a fan of it. Oh yeah,
Mm.
I would.
I've never even watched like a whole game, which is kind of sad on my part too. But like, it would be nice to kind of just see it and be like, oh, okay, this is how it works, and just see women shining. I mean,
Yes.
I always hear about women's rugby for some reason. Like men's rugby exists, but women's rugby, I feel like I would have friends who were in it. Like not a ton, but enough. Um,
UFC.
let's see.
I mean, sure. I think I saw one. Oh, hold on. I've seen a few women's UFC matches. Oh, they be going in. They be going in. They be going in. And then what's crazy about it is like once they get out of the cage and whatnot, and they just transform to like some totally different person. Like, wait a minute. No, you wasn't. This is not you. You was just in the fight being all barbaric, and now here you are. It's like you're not even.
Let me see if I can remember the person who won. It was like a black female. Was it Angela Hill? No. Or was it MMA? There was someone who won. Or was it women's wrestling? Crap.
Rhonda.
Oh, probably was Clarissa Shields, maybe. Okay, it might have been Clarissa Shields.
Got an Angela Hill. Ooh, BRB.
I was about to say I got to be right back too.
No, you stay put. You stay put.
We're gonna take a quick technical break. Okay. Intermission. Exactly. Honestly, that's how it would be, though. I'll keep my breath at the same time, too.
All right.
So this is a kind of interesting, and I guess to go into our topic with being like women's sports around the world. L. What are some sports, maybe countries, where women's sports are more prevalent, right? Because I'm not very internet. Like I know some. There's already other sports that are oftentimes international that don't get attention here, like cricket. Had a ton of Indian friends growing up. Well, mostly in college and then grad school. And I remember Indian and Pakistani friends. So when they won the cricket game, there was a whole like I think Pakistan won. So it kind of made me think what I guess sports are more popular in other countries, and then are there women that often play in those sports? So like women's cricket, I have no idea if that's the thing. Of course, you had like the Olympics that just happened, and there were many women who competed in some of those winter sports, and so some of those sports too, where it's like, does it really matter? I mean, you have like figure skating, you have I'm trying to think, women's hockey, figure skating. I don't even fully know. Then you have like martial arts, which isn't exactly a sport, but it can be. You can compete, right?
What? Martial arts is not a sport. Toby, you fired.
Well, the way that someone explained it to me was wushu was very much like a sport, but a lot of the other martial arts, depending on how they were, weren't always. I don't know. They weren't classified in the same way. Like at least when I was in college, wushu was the only one that was classified as like a sport compared to the other martial arts, where it was more like you learn. You of course get your belts and everything, but I don't know. Sorry, maybe I'm off, but I'm thinking of like sports with like leagues and well, I mean there definitely are competitions, especially for people who are fighting. I guess I'm thinking more so the people who kind of go through and they do like their solo exhibition. You break the bricks, you do those things. But of course, yes, you are like actual fights, right? In martial arts, people, some great movies have come from that. Like Karate Kid.
There you go.
Where's TMC? I'm dead. Hey, Guile. I can't exactly forget how to pronounce the name, but good to see you back. If you was here last week, I wasn't here, but always love our return viewers.
Yes, let's go. Yes, IP Man 1, 2, and 3, and 4. Yes.
I actually never watched past the first one, and the first one was epic. The sad part is on my TV. I'm pretty sure they're all free. Like if I go to like either Netflix or whatever the service is I have on Xfinity, I'll see Ant Man 2, 3, 4. I just have to make the time to watch.
Muay Thai.
Okay, Muay Thai. Yeah.
Okay.
Muay Thai. Yeah, I've heard of it. Thai boxing. Martial arts, that would have been a cool subtopic as well, because I would like to learn martial arts. And I actually had an Uber driver a few weeks ago who told me that he actually knows the town I live in, and he said that one of the owners is someone that because he used to do, I think, like coaching of martial arts or some kind of fighting, whether I don't remember what it was, but he used to do college coaching of either some martial arts or some kind of like boxing. And He had an interesting story. Apparently, he coaches someone who is, oh my god, I wish I could remember the name of this group, but they're like a big YouTubing. They're like these big YouTubers, not Logan and Jake Paul, but there's like these. Oh my god, this is gonna bother me because there are these like. There's a guy who apparently is a fighter. He did exhibition fights, kind of like the way Jake and Logan Paul have been doing, and
Mhm.
he's one of the founders, or he at least was high up in this big YouTube like streaming, these big YouTube streamers. But the thing is, I don't. This is gonna bother me. Um, but it's just crazy, like how small, like just all the connections. People can go from YouTubing to like fighting, exhibition, and doing all these things, just like boom. Even though I know we're supposed to be talking about women, in particular with these sports. Um,
Verified?
KSI was one of the ones he mentioned. So he mentioned KSI, of which I was crazy. I was like, dang, how did I not know about my Nigerian brother, KSI? Or maybe I've seen him but don't know him. No, it wasn't KSI, it was another one, but in the same exact domain. The fact that he literally just mentioned KSI. I have to like look at a bunch of like popular YouTubers who do these type of things, and I know I'm gonna find them. It's like four side, five sides, something. Was it something five? I don't remember. Um, Associated X, Little Win, SX, JME. No, I can't find it in the Associated X. So,
Oh, no worries. No worries. No
but
worries.
anyways, I'll think about that in the background. So, I don't know. There's a lot of sports out there that we could have more attention on. Um,
Mhm.
of course, I feel like track and field is a pretty solid one. I mean, that one already does have some attention, but like, I mean, I guess outside of Allison Felix, I mean, Shakari Richardson had her brief stint. Um, with the men, I'm not sure what like I'm not sure if it's exactly disproportionate. Like, who are the men runners? Like, you have Usain Bolt. There is someone else from Canada. He was in that meme where like he would come in second place to Usain Bolt. You would see his face, and it would be like, I don't even know why I showed up. Um, I think that was from 20. Was that? I'm trying to remember what year that was. That had to have been the 2016 Olympics. Um, he's a black Canadian guy. I think he's actually Jamaican. Like he's part Jamaican, but he's Canadian. And him and Usain Bolt had that moment where they were looking at each other and like smiling as they were running because he was actually overtaking Usain a little bit, but Usain got him at the end. And apparently they're good friends in real life. So there are some other men, but I don't think it's such a field where it's like all of the men runners and the women get like little play, or it could just be me not knowing them at all. And so I equally know little men and female um, runners. And of course, you had like Bruce / Caitlyn Jenner with decathlon, but I don't even know many like of that track, like the sorry, not the track, the field events. But I guess
Mhm.
seeing more women in those sports would be cool. But I think overall that discipline just doesn't get as much um, play. I think swimming is another one that's who are the women swimmers. Like you had um, Simone Manuel, who I think won her gold in 2016,
Mhm.
and that was like pretty huge because she was like an underdog. Um, like I'm gonna look her up again.
Mhm.
Freestyle,
Okay.
she won. Yeah. Oh, she went to Stanford. Oh, Stanford is huge when it comes to swimming, from what I've heard. Um, I'm looking her up right now, but I feel like that's another one you don't always see swimming and diving. So let's put them on the map. Um,
Yeah, cricket. I didn't. Hopefully, I said that right, but I'm not too familiar with that sport. I know. I almost want to say it's big in the Caribbeans and possibly overseas. But again, it's just one of those sports where it's like I know very little about, but very intrigued to watch them. and at least get familiarized with the sport at least because I think it's cool. I think it's cool. I think sports in general is cool.
Mm.
I I don't have a favorite player in every sport. That's not on my to do list. However, you know, I just say let them compete, let them have fun, let them enjoy what they love,
Mm.
let them enjoy what they love.
Yeah, let them enjoy. Similar to you, like I respect it. I just haven't because I'm already so like I haven't watched sports. I haven't been able to really catch a lot of women in action. Like even when it came to women's soccer, while I was following them, one, I played soccer growing up. Two, they were doing so well that I was like, yo, I want them to do well, but I didn't get the chance to really watch the games. And so
Mhm.
I'm like, if I wasn't gonna watch it there, then it's kind of game over for me because that was like my best chance. Um, but that's even in general. The freaking World Cup. I like wish I could say that I paid attention to it as much as I should. But it would be great to start like watching some women's sports. Something like maybe I'll just tune into some women's rugby. Um, this would have been a good chance to check the WNBA, but I was so out of the loop when it came to anything.
Yeah,
March, not with WNBA, sorry, but like the women's basketball for NCAA.
yeah, yeah. You can still catch it. You can
True.
still catch it. I think Final Four starts this week if they
Okay.
haven't played already. So yeah, you can still catch it. You can still catch it. You can
True.
still. It, you'll be surprised. You'll be surprised what you find, what you see, what you watch.
Mm.
You'll be very much surprised. But yeah, if there's any other sports we need to keep our eyes out on, like again, please drop them in the chat. Uh, okay, okay, okay. Can I ask you a question? I is there a reason why you? I don't want to say you don't watch it, but is it because of a preference? You don't really like necessarily watch a lot of the sports.
For me, oh wait, never mind. He also put his question up there.
Like, is it just because of a preference? Why you don't watch like a lot of sports? Oh yeah, Super Bowl. I mean, Super Bowl is a good one, you know. But at the same time, me personally, I'm the type of person where it's like I would like to watch a lot of the playoff games, even though none of my teams, like the last past Super Bowl, none of my team did squat. But I was happy that I was able to go to a Lions game for once, and that was pretty. That was awesome. Oh, that was awesome. It was a good game. Came down to the wire. But still, just the fact that oh man, okay. No, no, I respect that. I respect that. I do.
Yeah, it's always a relearning experience for me.
Yeah. I mean, I played football up
Mm.
until high school, so
Yeah.
it was fun. It was a fun experience. I dabbled a little bit in soccer, dabbled a little bit in basketball. Of course, I did track and field. Golf, I wasn't into. Baseball, nope.
Yeah, that's a big note for me. I don't know. I couldn't get it.
No, I tried. I tried. I'm telling you, I tried. I think the last time I played baseball, it was it was a humbling experience. I'll put it to you like that. It was a very humbling experience. I'm like, I'm good.
Mm. Yeah, I'm good for Super Bowl mostly. Honestly, at this point, I'd barely be keeping up with the Super Bowl, but there was a point where it was a big thing. At least in college, I would, keep up with it. Right, and I think this was actually the time when you were absent, Ron, in the beginning of the month, and me and Elle were doing the stream. I was mentioning like how 2013 Super Bowl, yeah, well, that was my first year in college, and so that was the Ravens against the 49ers, and I was going to school in Baltimore County. So of course we were all super hyped for the Ravens to win, but it was a very close game, and it was like stressful. I was like, oh, this is what it's like to watch football, because that was like my first ever football game for real. So thankfully we won by like 4 points, like something like really small. But yeah, I feel like I've just never been to it that much. Like I tried watching the World Cup. I did watch a good amount of it in 2000, I think 10. That was in high school. So that summer, I mean, it was summer 2010. What was I really doing? It was high school. Our family, even we would try to watch it at home. And I actually was doing soccer too. At that point, I started doing soccer in high school. I think that summer was right before my junior year, and I was doing soccer conditioning. So I would literally go do my conditioning like twice a week in the evenings, and then I could go home and watch the World Cup. 2014, that was a summer, just doing an internship near my house in Maryland. So I caught games where I could catch them. Summer 2018, funny enough, I was doing an internship with the company I'm currently in Massachusetts. I was still in grad school at the time, but I remember one of my like team leaders, he always would start our like little standoffs talking about soccer because he's Ukrainian and he loves soccer. Stop. I'm done.
I love it. I love it.
Next best
That's
good rivalry match
funny.
with Team Y from.
That's funny.
I'm just not going to get into. I was watching a sport. That's understandable. Chad, to what you said about sports being social.
Yeah.
Because already I'm not watching a lot of these sports where people really are watching. Like I did watch the finals. I think it was when the Warriors were going against must have been, was it the Cavs? Well, yeah, where LeBron used to be. And like it was just such an uphill battle because the Warriors had it all. And the Warriors won. But I remember watching that game. It was just like one of the, you could say like it was like a multicultural lounge, but a lot of black students would be there. So I was watching it with them. And like they were talking, they were going. And I don't know, I was just like, this is interesting, but I couldn't imagine just like watching this myself because I don't really have a stake in these teams. Like I was glad that the Raptors won when they won, just because I kind of like an underdog. And that's when I first heard of was it Kawhi Leonard. And also Giannis, I also heard of too at that same time. I never knew who they were before. So I was like, this is kind of cool. Like I'm seeing different people. I'm hearing it's not just the same. Not that I don't respect the talent that's there, but it's nice to kind of see others come through. Like the Super Bowl. I was like, yo, if the Lions are not the, yeah, was it the Lions? I don't even know if I'm saying the right team name. The Rams ended up winning, but I was hoping the other team might get them. So sometimes I just like the diversity and like shaking things up, but I don't have like favorites that I'd be following.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember that Super Bowl, and the reason why I wanted the Rams to win it was literally because Matthew Stafford, he came from Detroit. He was in Detroit and he was asking front office, hey, build me a team. If you guys want me to win, build me a team. And allow me to have options to pick. Like you can't have me just throw to this one guy and expect him to catch all of the passes and he gets beaten down play after play after play. Like give me some more. Give me something I could use, give me a good solid running back. Give me a better offensive line that could actually protect me. He didn't get that. And so when he went to the Rams, I'm like, man, like it's a bittersweet moment. It is, but I get it. Like I get it. The Rams are willing to put players in your in your path in order for you to be successful. And then again with Cincinnati coming in too as well, it was like, ooh, that was going to be a good one. But again, shout out to Matthew Stafford because again, he got the one ring that he wanted, and then especially was it with the team that he probably was like, yeah, would have been cool if I had it was with my old team, but this one, I get it. They gave me everything I wanted. So yeah, that was cool. That was cool.
Right now, because this kind of gave me on a tangent. I was looking at teams that never won the Super Bowl, and it's
Yeah.
so sad because all these teams that have made their appearances there, some have just never been. Oh, yikes! Sorry to those teams, but for the teams that have made it, you have the freaking Bengals, the Falcons, the Panthers, all these teams that like had these really prolific games, right? Like Cam Newton was super popular. That's the time when the dab was still a cool thing to do, and he was always dabbing on the team on like, after doing the touchdowns. Cam Newton was on fire, and then it just all fizzled out in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
The Falcons, we already know what happened with the Falcons, and Lord, no. That's like it's like blowing this leads of this big haven't been blown since military defeats the likes of Germany and Russia. Well, let's not talk about Russia because we don't know what's about to happen. But like, how do you have come with this big advantage and you lose this badly? 33 to 20. Can I even remember it? It was 3 to something. 28-3 probably. Good God. I'm still upset because that was, I don't know. I was just upset because any team that could beat the Patriots is a good team in my eyes. I don't hate the Patriots, but I just feel like, obviously I'm in New England, so I really can't talk crap about the Patriots now. But when I was in New England, everyone wanted to hate the Patriots. So I'm just like, really, Falcons? Seriously? You really blew this lead? Anyways.
I love it. I love it here.
No.
Oh, I love it here.
In this case, I do hope their lead is blown because no one wants them to win what they're doing right now.
Yeah. Oh man, that's funny.
It is a great.
Yeah. Yes. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. I agree. Yes, they do. They have some fighters. Oh yes. Yes, they do. They have some fighters. They are not willing to get bloody up for the win. Yes. Yes.
No. I think I saw what did I just see? I was looking up the black woman who I think won. I think it's the one who I saw because I saw on Instagram like someone won and they made history. And I think the person might be Clarissa Shields. I'm not sure if it is, but it's March of last year. So the timeline seems to kind of fit. Let me see. Outlanded. Did she win though? Clarissa Shields. Clarissa, I need to find the article. A woman becomes first boxer ever to become undisputed champ in 2 weight classes. Is that why? Clarissa Shields. I don't know if Clarissa Shields was the person, but it looks like she made history. There's an article here about black women making history in boxing. This might be her, but I'm not sure if it is. I just remember like sometime last year, there was pretty sure they were a boxer. I'm pretty sure they were a black boxer, and they definitely won.
Just go ahead and drop it in the main chat if you can.
Yeah,
share it that way. Yeah. Anyone? No, I have not read any articles in regards to
shoot.
Britain.
That's actually what I was thinking of talking about in the beginning before we started going on. I mean, it was still a very relevant conversation with Leah Thomas, but originally the controversial thing I thought we were going to talk about, or that I kind of had in my head at one point, was Brittany Greiner. So that is just like, whoa, and I mean, there also was Wasn't there a Chinese athlete too who was detained and went missing? Or unless maybe she was a journalist, but there was a Chinese. I think it was an athlete, a Chinese athlete, and the Chinese state was like, "Yeah, this person is fine," but yet no one knew where she was, and her whereabouts were not accounted for. Um, and I'm like, whoa, what's happening with all these like female athletes in like these countries, China, Russia, that are like, I mean, in that other one, in the case of China, that was an actual Chinese citizen. In the case of Russia, Brittany Greiner, of course, is American. Um, so obviously that's not good. Though I guess the State Department confirmed that she was doing well, she was healthy. That was like a week ago. So at least they were able to see her. But good God, what is she doing? Like, not what's she doing, but what happened to her? Like, how is she doing? Why is she still there? Like, why is this acceptable? Um, we tend to select women excelling in male arenas, and the sign of light on devalued priorities important to fringe groups. What exactly do you mean by that?
No, she was not good.
Okay, tennis. Yes, thank you. Thank you. So, I mean, yeah, women's sports around the world. I mean, I don't know if in her case, if she was speaking out against the regime, and then boom, something happened. Oh, I think it was the sexual assault. Okay, so she had basically had a Me Too type story, and I guess that's why. Um, wow, I'm reading some of the story about her, and that is really, ooh, that's crazy. That's all the problems the U.S. have. Glad to be here over some other places.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and she tried speaking out against it, and that's when I'm glad to be here in other places because I mean, and I'm not gonna like minimize any of these things at all. I'm not at all minimizing what's happened here in the U.S., but having the freedom to be able to speak out, whether it was, I can't remember her name right now, but she testified against Brett Kavanaugh, or you have Tara Reid, I believe, who testified about Joe Biden, or you had other people, and like not minimizing their experiences at all, because that is really bad, really horrifying to have these like these assaults or rape for people who you would expect to like trust. With Brett Kavanaugh, it wasn't really a power dynamic, but with Biden, you know, with that allegation, that definitely was. And you have other allegations, of course, Trump. So like these things are all horrible, but like typically the government will not make you disappear and arrest you for it. And so it's kind of like really another level of like craziness when you think about some of these governments and how little power you have when you're like an athlete or even anyone else, but then you like you're expected to keep quiet about certain things and you can't challenge power.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna put this up. I found this funny. I found that one funny. I chuckled because it's not crazy. It was actually you just pondering. Okay.
So,
And
you said
no,
what was your spell check? Or what was that thing you just said, Ron? You said you're not crazy.
yeah, you're not crazy. No, that is not crazy. What's your emoji there? It was on time. That was a timely emoji. That was a timely emoji. And I'll put it to you like this: with everybody coming in and just sharing their thoughts and their opinions and everything else that has been aiding in this chat session, live stream session, however we're gonna call this thing. It's been great. It's been great. It's been great. You know, have we had some differences of opinion? Sure. Have we had some eye openers? Yes, sure. But at the same time, even at the end of the day, as long as we leave knowing something, that's a dub in my opinion.
Mm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I read that. I read that last week. I read that last week. I read that last week, and it even shouldn't really be that way. You know, it really shouldn't be that way. It's like this is a full fledged human being. Like, why is she a pawn in somebody else's game? Like, no, her family wants her home. She wants to be home with her family, especially her wife wants her home. It's like, dude, come on, you know, figure it out. Figure it out. Let this woman come home, be with her family. You know,
Russian Premier League.
it's sickening. It's sickening what's going on. It's sickening. And even then, like in the last article I read too, it's like, yeah, she's a two-time gold-winning NBA. No, she is a two-time gold medalist for the U.S. women's basketball team. And it's like, yes, like she's already proved that she's good. And the only thing she was actually doing was just chilling out, let her come home, let her come home and not treat her like a criminal
Mm.
for, for what? Don't get started. Like
I
I
really
said,
wish I
don't
knew
get,
her before, like, because
oh
I'm
yeah,
just skimming through like her Wikipedia too. Like I'm listening to what you're saying, but like I'm just wow, like she's done so much. She's done a lot. Like she's trailblazed a lot. She's done quite a lot. Like medals, victories, all these things. Yeah. So
yeah,
fortunate that this incident is sort of what made me realize more of who she was. Um, yeah, no, that's like you said, find a way for her to go home. Like this is craziness.
yeah, yeah, agreed, agreed.
And
Let
God,
that, let her come home. Alrighty,
we be chatting
and yeah, no, we're good, we're good. So,
real quick.
you guys, it's been fun. It's been real. It's been real fun. It's been great. Love the conversations. Love the feedback. Love the back and forth. And just love each and every one of you guys for stopping in and stopping by. Even if it was like a hot second just to come in and then dip off, that's okay. We love it. We appreciate it. We do. We do. We do. We do. And I know we are going to end the stream, and typically I'll have our lovely L to sign us off and whatnot. And so I'm gonna do it in her place unless she wants to do it. Unless L, you want to go ahead and do it through the chat, you are more than welcome to do so. Just saying,
Yes, Al.
you are more than welcome to sign us off from the chat and whatnot. But even still, it's just like women in sports, regardless of what sport it is. I say this again, they've already earned their keep. They've already showcased they have the skill, they have the talent, they have the gifts and whatnot. And and again, because a lot of them are making history as they're going through and whatnot, it is just they need our continued support. They need our continued support. And even then, just because things are changing at a very rapid pace and whatnot is going to be hard. But what change hasn't been easy?
Mm,
Change has been easy. Everybody be changing by now. But because change is one of those difficult but necessary things, it's like the only thing you do is to embrace it and just go from there. But yes, this will be us ending our women's history stream. We appreciate you guys so much,
yes.
and we love the vibes, the energy. Yes, boom.
Yes, thank you. Oh, it was great
Yes,
having you
yes.
on.
Miss your face.
Yes,
Miss your face.
likewise. Likewise to L, because I already see your face here on. But we did miss your face beginning of the month. I'm like, yo.
Yes, dude, I understand. I understand the feeling. It's like, oh, and I get it. I get it. I do. I get it. I get it. But yeah, so you guys, we're gonna come back next week, same time, same channel, same trio. You never know. We may have a guest or two. You never know what we're gonna do, but you got
You
to
never
tune
know.
in. And Mish, if you're still on, make sure you blast that Discord link if you can, and if you will, if you guys have not done so. If not, I know on um, the TMC Twitter page, we have that link pinned as well. So if you want to come in and vibe out and hang out, you are more than welcome to do so. Oh, thank you.
Appreciate it. Maybe I'll be back
The
next week. Maybe.
Yes.
Yes, the Triforce. I'm not even gonna
Yeah.
try to sign roles, but we got power, wisdom, and courage on this.
Boom. Maybe that's okay.
Yeah. That
Yes.
Triforce hit different.
Oh yeah. It do.
But we be strong. We still hold it down. I love it. I love the flexibility of this council. I had a dip last week. Ron had a dip early in the month. And we hold it down. The day that one of us does the stream start to finish by ourselves is the day that we've evolved to a different level. Oh, wait a second. Link needs to be up. Oh,
yeah.
I still need to hear about that. The Water Temple, oh god. The Water Temple was such a monstrous temple in Ocarina of Time. Like, I don't know what those people were doing when I mean, I'm not going to come for the developers, but my goodness, that was a very hard temple to do without a walkthrough. Forest Temple, fine. Fire Temple, liked it a lot. Forest Temple was creepy. That was anyway.
Yeah.
But what the war was the Water Temple? How are you supposed to know what direction to go and how to survive? Keys. It's not my portion.
Right.
It's not my potion.
Love is not my tune. The Water Temple is not my tune. Not playing on that ocarina. No.
The Shadow Temple was a tomb, though. That temple was actually, as scary as it was, as creepy as it wasn't that bad. You just had to avoid the likes and the holes and the traps. The Spirit Temple, I love the Spirit Temple. Though it was a little difficult because you had to do it young and old. Anyway, different stream, different topic. Video games, don't even get me started. Zelda is clearly one of my favorite franchises, if you don't know. Even though I haven't kept up with the new games, Breath of the Wild, not played it, but one day. Next month's game, that's a question that I have been thinking about myself. We will have an answer for you before next week.
Fact. Alrighty. So you've done nothing. You've done nothing wrong. You've done nothing wrong.
Chad did nothing wrong.
No, but we gotta go. We gotta go. It's been real fun, you guys. It's been real fun. Thank you guys for stopping in. Shout out to Chad, Guile, L, B. Julia, Mark, Trumper for Yang. Who else was in here? Who else was in here?
You said Julia?
Yeah.
Kyle. In the beginning we had Mark. I think you said Mark already.
Yep, me. Yeah, shout out to you guys.
Yeah.
Shout out to every last one of you guys.
And to the lurkers
in the back, shout out to you as well. Our lurkers in the back, shout out to you as well. So we're signing off. It's the Melanated Council. We will catch you guys next week. Peace.
Peace, y'all. Thanks for tuning in.